There's a new face. We haven't. Yeah, Steve's out there drifting around somewhere. Thomas won't let him in.
Mr. Mayor, show is yours.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, July 28th. We've got a special workshop meeting tonight. Item number 1 on the agenda is public comment. Thomas, do we have anybody in the public comment?
No, sir, we sure don't.
Let's move on to item number 2, the workshop. 2A, review of and discussion on the 2020 boards and commissions recruitment and appointment process. And we have Ms. Cindy Dees, our Director of Public Affairs. Cindy.
Hi there, good evening. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Tonight's objective for Mayor and City Council is to receive guidance on how City Council wishes to proceed in filling vacancies on our city boards and commissions. We have over 100 volunteers on our very many boards and commissions who give a lot of their time back to the city through this way. So it's a very important program. We're going to be talking about how we want to fill vacancies on each board or commission and whether or not council wants to do any interviews, things like that tonight. Next slide. So an overview of what the boards and commissions program is all about. City Council annually appoints residents to serve on our various boards and commissions. They exercise a number of advisory as well as quasi-judicial powers and functions depending on the board or commission that are essential or useful to the operation of our city government. If vacancies occur within boards or commissions, the positions can be filled from a current list of applications using an appointment process in the City Council's Policy 3000-09 or Resolution 15-24. or through a recruitment process to solicit interested volunteers. Next slide. So from here, tonight, as I discussed, we are going to talk about how to proceed with our process, but our anticipated timeline after tonight is that in a few days here, we would actually open applications for any boards or commissions that council would like to go out and recruit for. We would then, on August 21st, close those applications. That 3-week time frame for the applications to be open is based on previous City Council feedback. So that is definitely a decision point, how long you want to keep applications open. But we have done 3 weeks over the last 2 or 3 years. On August 28th, we would compile all those applications and send City Council an FYI with all the applicants. So you can decide from there, which applicants you would like to move forward with as an individual council member. And then the week of September 21st, based on feedback from City Council, we would plan to schedule virtual interviews if needed with any of the selected applicants. We are recommending a virtual process this year just based on the circumstances. October 6th, we would move forward with actually appointing a formal appointment process for any of the applicants that were selected to move forward to fill a vacancy on a board or commission. And then October 7th or after, those members would be invited to come in and take their official oath with the Office of the City Secretary, and they would be officially ready to start their duties. October 20th, they would come back for their ceremonial oath and ethics training as we've done in previous years to fulfill the rest of their requirements for their new position. And that would also include any reappointed members as well, so the new and the reappointed. And then we would be complete with the process for the bulk of our boards and commissions for the rest of the year. Next slide. So now we're going to go ahead and start talking about our first group of boards and commissions, which is our advisory boards. We do have 3 of those, and so we do have the staff liaisons on this meeting with us tonight in case there are any specific questions that I'm not able to answer about those boards. But I do want to give you a high-level overview of what the board does and kind of the state of affairs on each board, and then talk about, before we leave each slide, talk about how you want to proceed with that board. So for example, for this slide that you're seeing here, we're going to talk about those at the end here before we leave this slide, those 3 boxes at the bottom. Would you like to reappoint the current board? Would you like to open applications? And then would you like to conduct interviews? So based on your responses as a council, it will let us know how we're going to flow through this slide. So for Animal Advisory Board, we have 1-year terms for each of the members that are on that board. We have a total of 11 members on the board, but that does include 2 city staff. So from the community, we have 9 members of that board. And right now, we do know that we have 1 vacancy due to a resignation that we did receive. And so council has received some information about who that was. That was actually Suzanne Leggy. I hope I'm saying that right. But she has submitted her resignation, so that is a known vacancy. All other members on the Animal Advisory Board are interested in being reappointed. We do have 1 member who is currently over the term limit that council has set in their policy, which is traditionally 8 years for a term limit, unless the council deems that there is a reason for somebody to exceed those 8 years. So in this case, the 1 member that is over term limit is actually Dr. James Cox. And if you recall, this board is actually mandated to have certain roles fulfilled, and one of them is a veterinarian, and so that's the role that Dr. Cox fulfills for this board, and he does serve as the chair as well. At this point, I want to share some feedback from Dr. Cox. We did ask all the chairs, what their feedback was on their boards, how their performance was going, and Dr. Cox's feedback was that he is fairly happy with board members. He doesn't have any concerns or complaints about the board. So it seems like everything is going well from that standpoint. And then we did receive some staff liaison feedback as well, basically saying similar things, that things are also going well, that one thing the council may want to consider as they move forward with filling this vacancy is that there could be a benefit to trying to seek out members who have an association with a rescue group, because that is also one of the requirements of the Animal Advisory Board, is to have somebody that represents a rescue group in the community, and that could be a potential opportunity there. And also that as far as the member that is over the term limit, Dr. Cox, that at this point in time for this year, it is not recommended from staff to change anything on that, but that could be something that moving forward over the next year could warrant further discussion from the City Council about how to proceed. But at this time, they would not recommend changing that board member out because the Animal Advisory Board is in the middle of quite a bit of projects. So that is the feedback we received. And then we do not have any applications on file currently that have been submitted in the last year for this board. So we don't have any applications to go to fill that vacancy at this time.
Okay.
So that is a summary from the Animal Advisory Board. So now I'm looking for your feedback on how you want to proceed.
Thank you, Cindy.
Obviously, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me, Cindy and I had a chance to review this a week ago. I committed to her, since Dr. Cox has been on the board, since he's the doctor and he's the vet, I'll visit with him. He used to be my vet when we had dogs. So Dr. Cox and I have a long history and a long relationship. I'll visit with him and find out what his preference is. All the members have expressed a desire to be reappointed. I'd suggest to the council that we reappoint them. The fact that we have, and then I think what I'd suggest is that recommend is that staff get with Catherine, and if there is someone in the community that has an affiliation with a rescue group association, which is I think what Suzanne Wege was, then we could take that appointment up at that time, or that recommendation. Certainly open to any comments or thoughts from the council members. Anyone? Himesh?
Thank you, Mayor. Cindy, I'm going to probably ask you this a few times tonight, but have there been any issues or concerns with participation, absences, so forth?
We did not note any issues with participation or absences from the chair or the staff liaisons on this board.
Thank you. And by the way, Mayor, I support what you just said also.
Carol?
Yes, Mayor, I was going to say, I concur with what your recommendations are.
You want to just go around the room? Jennifer and Nishad, go ahead.
No issues, Mayor. I agree with you.
Jennifer?
Same.
Steve?
I think it would be worthwhile to get the more than just one recommendation for an add-on, rather than just, take it or leave it, kind of a recommendation
It's a
for
good
the
thought.
one that we need to appoint.
Okay.
If that's possible. I don't.
Stuart?
I'm comfortable.
Cindy, do you have the direction? I think Steve makes a good point. Get one or more, really more than one recommendation, and that gives council a choice on the additional appointment to the 9-member board.
Okay, so what I heard was we want to reappoint all the current members, but on the vacancy, did you want to, I want to be clear on that, did you want to open up applications to recruit somebody for that one vacancy that we have?
No, Cindy, the recommendation was, and I made it, which was to get Catherine Ketchum, get Catherine to make a recommendation of several members that we could then consider.
Okay,
And then I'll talk to Dr. Cox about long-term.
okay. All right, we can go to the next board if y'all are ready.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're going to go to the PARCS Board. The PARCS Board has 1-year terms. They have 9 members on the board, and right now, there are all members are interested in being reappointed. This is a relatively new board in its current form, so there are no members over their term limit right now. And I will go ahead and share a little bit of, all of the chair's feedback and some of the staff feedback. The chair here is Barbara Gresham, and she shared that she actually feels that Zoom meetings have increased the board members' participation, their comments. One of the things that they're doing differently on the Zoom calls is she's calling on every member for comment during the question and answer portion of their meetings. She feels that during the Zoom meetings, the members feel more compelled to talk, and the feedback to the staff has increased. Members are engaged and enthusiastic about their advisory role. Seeing each other on the screen offers a unique and effective communication tool. She still looks forward to the in-person meetings coming back at some point, but attendance has been good. They have one member who has missed 3 out of 6 meetings, but they have an art background, and that person is an active participant when they are able to attend. Staff presentations are excellent, knowledge of topics, and answering all the questions. She says City of Sugar Land hires the best, so we were really pleased to get her feedback. She was very nice. And so, it seems overall that things are going well from her perspective on the board as a chair. And there were actually no additional staff comments. So again, with the staff, things appear to be going well and no major issues here. We did open applications in 2019 when we filled a couple of positions. So we do still have 4 applications on file. One thing I do want to note about all the applications you're going to hear about tonight, for every single one of the boards that has applications on file, we've previously utilized all of those in an interview and ranking process at one point or another over the last 1 to 2 years. So that's just something to keep in mind. With this, I'll go ahead and open up if council has any feedback on if they would like to reappoint the board as it is or any other thoughts.
Thank you, Cindy. Stuart?
Thank you, Mayor. Having come from the Parks Board, I know that these are all dedicated folks, and they actually work extremely well together, so I'm absolutely in favor of reappointing the current board.
Okay. Carol?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I support reappointment.
Jennifer?
I support reappointment of all the members.
Umesh?
Yeah, I'm good as long as everyone's participating and still attending the meetings.
Okay. Nishad?
I agree with my colleagues, Mayor.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, it's not
Okay. Cindy, I think you've got it up. What the direction is let's go ahead and reappoint the current board, and then we'll move forward.
Okay,
And
great.
thank Barbara for her feedback too, please.
Will do. All right, we have the Sugarland Legacy Foundation as our last advisory board for tonight before we break off into talking about our administrative boards. So Sugarland Legacy Foundation has 2-year terms. They have 9 members. We do have 3 known vacancies, and I know that was communicated to council through an FYI recently. So you should have seen that. We did learn, that one of the members who had originally said that they were potentially thinking about resigning has withdrawn that. So we were at 4, and then we're back down to 3. So just to clarify that, all of the members beyond the 3 known vacancies are interested in being reappointed. We do have 1 member that's up for reappointment currently that is over the term limit, and that's actually the chair, Mr. Sunny Sharma. And he is, I believe, 1 year over the term limit currently. So Mr. Sharma did give us feedback on the board, and he said overall he has a good board. He said Gary Becker and Susan Chapman have been good additions to the board, and he feels that Susan will be an asset moving forward with the work on the animal shelter fundraising efforts. He also said Dee Cook has been a good addition. The travel schedule has made it a bit challenging, and I think you'll see that kind of in the attendance there, but she was traveling during that time and was in communication about that. He's sad to see the 3 members of the board that are leaving. 2 of them are original board members that first were around when the Legacy Foundation first started. So he was sad to see them go, but he understands their reasoning. He said the type of people we should aim to recruit for the board to fill the 3 vacancies are those who can help us create a sustainable organization, have an interest in fundraising, bring energy, have a marketing or social media background or knowledge, especially since Patty Godfrey is leaving. And he also said someone with a financial or estate planning background or knowledge about that would be helpful as well. He said he was actually already reaching into his network to see if there was anyone that fit some of that criteria to try to recruit, including one of his contacts through one of his sons, who is an entrepreneur in real estate. And he also mentioned that he thought some good candidates for the board could be individuals like former Councilmember Amy Mitchell, former Councilmember Daniel Wong, or community member Farah Ahmed. So those were his thoughts on kind of moving forward. But overall, with the remaining board members, he felt like things were going well. As far as staff feedback from the staff liaison at this point, with the board kind of in its current state of needing to fill 3 vacancies, the staff liaison doesn't think that the term limit issue should be addressed this year, that we could wait on worrying about that later. And then also that vacancies on this board, as you can see, we've had 0 applications on file, but one thing to note is that the recruitment process, the last time we did this was open back in 2017, and it was a process where we sent out letters of interest to individuals, if council will recall that. And so for this time around, vacancies would actually be handled, the staff liaison recommending that vacancies be handled in the same manner and timeline with the other boards and commissions. Previously, Legacy sometimes would be handled through a different process. And then both board members, staff, council would encourage individuals to apply to gain interest on filling those 3 vacancies. So that was the feedback from staff of how she envisioned kind of moving forward with this board. So as I mentioned, there's 0 applications on file. So with that, I'm interested in your feedback if you'd like to reappoint the remaining members to the board that are up for reappointment, and then how you'd like to move forward with the 3 vacancies and filling those.
Cindy, let me address the council. I've had a chance to visit not only with Daphne, but with Sunny. As you all see, there are 3 board members that are coming off: Paul Licari, Brent Leftwich, and Patty Godfrey. This board is now getting ready to head in a new direction. It is going to be headed in the direction of actually soliciting funds that they would then apply to projects that they sponsor little bit different role than what they had before, which was more or less working under the direction of the council when the council provided the funds, and then it wasn't that they didn't raise funds, they did. For example, Gene Reed with Memorial Park raised significant funds, for the memorial. But that wasn't necessarily the norm. That would then become the norm. So it now requires a kind of a different set of skills, if you will. This, I think, gives us a chance to go forward in more or less a strategic session. Hire an outside consultant, Daphne would take care of that. That would lead them on a team building exercise to develop a new mission. And then I think having done that, then we would be in a position to solicit applications. Again, this wouldn't be the typical board or commission member. It has a different focus, a different responsibility. So I'd suggest, my recommendation is we appoint the board members that are willing to serve, reappoint them, and then as we move through the process, as Daphne moves through the strategic visioning process, then the council will take that up after they've gone through that, and we have a little clear understanding of how that aligns with the current board members. Any questions? Steve?
I'm not taking an issue with what you said, Mayor. I just would like you to talk a little bit about why not include new members in this team building exercise rather than do the team building with the current board and then have to reintegrate whoever the new members are.
You make a good point, Steve. The only reason I said to move forward is to do the recruitment process is going to take time. And I think the board right now, in order to keep them engaged and to keep them moving forward, I think it's important to go through the strategic visioning process right now. And then Daphne then can catch up, new board members. You make a good point. It's from my perspective, I think it's important now to get a consultant on board and get through that process so that we can kind of reset the expectation of the current board members on what the new responsibilities are, and then allow people to kind of step back and say, is that something I want to do? This is very different from what many of them signed up to do the first time. Does that make sense, Steve?
Well, I haven't been working with them like Daphne, and I haven't talked to them like you. So I'm going to go on your recommendation there. Just wanted to hear a little bit about your thinking on that. Thanks.
Sure. Stuart?
Yeah, I concur.
Carol?
I concur.
Jennifer?
Concur.
Nishad?
I'm okay, Mayor, and I do like what Sonny said, that maybe a former city council member would be a good part of this board. They understand us. They've been here, they've sat in our shoes, and I think they'll bring the new vision as we want to change the dynamics of the Legacy Foundation.
Umesh?
Yeah, Mayor, I'm kind of indifferent. I kind of understand Councilman Porter's point. I guess coming into this question, I was thinking that we would open it up and get new people on board and then let them participate in whatever wherever they're going. But I think circumstances given, I think it's probably prudent. Like I said, I'm indifferent. I could go either way. I think we have some good people on the board currently that will provide good leadership to whether it's new people or if it's the current board. So.
Cindy, I think you've got a direction. I think Jennifer's probably online too, so she'll pick up on that. Thank you.
So the next steps, if I can get my slide, we will move forward with the feedback that you gave us tonight, and for any, full board appointments, I think we heard, on one of those for parks and things like that, we will go ahead and move forward with those types of things, and then open application for any applicable boards and commissions that we were talking about tonight so far. Next slide. With that, any final clarifying questions before we move into the executive session?
Anybody? This time we're going to go ahead and recess, and we're going to move into executive session. The beauty of it is nobody has to move from where they are right now. We will recess the regular session and we'll move into the closed executive session. City Council, City of Sugar Land, Fort Bend County, Texas, on the 28th day of July, 2020, beginning at 5:55 p.m. Convened and closed executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code Sections 551074, Public Officers. Item number 2, subject matter of deliberation and action taken. Texas Government Code Section 551074, Public Officers, for the purpose of deliberations regarding appointments to and duties of the Building Standards Commission, the Zoning Board of Adjustment,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mayor. I apologize.
the Planning and Zoning Commission, the Sugar Land 4B Corporation, the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1, Tax Increment Reinvestment Number 3, Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 4, Independent Ethics Review Board, and Imperial Redevelopment District. And we're going to take up the conversation with Ms. Cindy Dees, the Director of Public Affairs, and Carrie Paxton Lamke, our Community Engagement Manager. Carrie, welcome back from vacation.
All right, I'm moving everybody to close the executive session. Please hold on 1 second.